Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today we are covering Little Monsters, which came out in 2019. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. So we're tweensies today. We are drinking the Harney and Sons Fine Teas. We are drinking the Decaf Hot Cinnamon, which has decaf black tea, orange peel, natural and artificial cinnamon flavors, cinnamon, and cloves.
It is very powerful. Very beautiful. Very powerful.
This is not one to leave in the cup.
Yeah.
Brewing there.
Normally we're bad. We leave the tea bag in because we like the strong flavor. But this one, like, you can smell how strong it is as soon as the water hits it. Like, it's
Just
it is not lacking for strong cinnamon and clove flavor.
yeah.
And I'm saying this all before I've even tried it.
But for our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So for the summary of Little Monsters, these kids go on a field trip, and it just so happens to be next to a government facility where they're doing, I guess it's experiments?
Yeah.
Kind of. Anyways,
There's research and development kind of things.
But there's a zombie breakout.
Yeah.
And so the school teacher and one of the kids' uncles has to help all the kids make it out okay. Yep. So for entertainment, so we previously reviewed Little Evil, and compared to, like, I feel like this one has a very similar comedy feel, but
Yeah. And that one you gave a 7.
yeah, so this one, honestly, oh man, I think, I'm like debating between a 7.25 and a 7.5. Like, I normally do not enjoy zombie horror movies, first of all, and also like zombie or horror movies with kids, just because, you know, you have the kid acting, which tends to be not that good, and then a lot of the times they just make the kids more annoying than anything.
Yeah. And there were a couple.
Yeah, but it's like this one, it really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
And I like each of the characters were distinctly different and interesting. Teddy McGiggles. Which I appreciated that I recognized the actor on that one. Yeah.
Oh, he's a very noticeable voice. He's very recognizable.
Yeah. Been in a few movies.
Just a few. Including a very beloved snowman.
And Gaston's
LeFou.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
in the most recent.
Well, a sidekick, that was what I was trying to say. Gaston's sidekick.
Yeah, but his name was LeFou.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to be, like, low-key about it, and you're like, LeFou.
Yeah, it was LeFou. In the live action, not the animated.
Yeah. But, you know, I'm kind of, okay, I think the fact that I'm fighting between which one, I think I'm going to give it a 7.5. Because this is a movie that Because I know we've watched other movies, like the one with Elijah Wood, with the preschoolers or whatever. Cooties. It's like there's those movies I enjoy, but I can't really picture myself going back to watch them. But this one I can actually picture like going back and watching it.
No, I go back and watch Cooties a lot too. But I also like zombie movies, so you know.
But it's like I love that they actually make the kids a lot more realistic. They're not just there to be annoying.
And they're varied.
Yes. Yeah, every kid is distinctly different. All the adult characters are distinctly different. I love the character growth that they give through the situation. I love the backstory that they give the characters. Like the backstory with the teacher was really interesting, and it really helps you connect why she loves being a teacher so much.
And it also shows that she's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like, she's made some mistakes in her past too. She's not perfect.
Yeah, and I love the Teddy McGiggles backstory. And man, when he went to the car,
he was awful. But oh my god, I loved what happened.
But when he goes to the car and he unlocks it, he's like, and like honks. But and then I love
what's coming to him too.
I love the fact that like the teacher, you know, has the narrative of like, oh, this is just a game. It's not like, you know, it's not actual zombies.
Yeah, she's trying to keep the kids calm and, you know, happy and not panicked and upset and all.
Yeah, like
what she does to Teddy McGiggles.
Yeah, that was so great.
It was dark. Like, she went dark fast.
Yeah, like almost like threatening to stab him.
Yes,
like,
I freaking love her so much.
Do your giggle.
She's so great in other movies like Us and so many other movies, but in
Black
this
Panther?
one, yes, absolutely. So I honestly can't think of a movie I don't love her in.
Yeah, she's actually a really good actress.
Awesome.
She plays like a lot of varied roles.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
But in this one especially, when she makes that switch into badass mode and threatens to stab him.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, like you done effed up.
The teacher is honestly
you
a badass.
Don't mess with the teacher.
Yeah, Miss Caroline is a badass.
And to be fair, teachers deal with enough. Like,
yeah,
I can easily see some snapping.
Yeah,
but she was also protective of those kids. Like, she was not gonna let anything happen to them.
Yeah, like if I was a parent of one of those kids, I would be like, oh yeah, she is going to be a teacher for all of my kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like freaking amazing.
Yes, give that woman a raise.
Yeah, she is not paid enough for the work she does.
No.
But yeah, it's like I love how this movie puts you through a typical zombie situation where they have to take cover, but it just does it in such like a fun twist where it's like a field trip and then they gotta take cover and then they're like telling the kids stories to help them
singing
sleep.
Taylor Swift songs.
Yeah.
She's got her ukulele.
Yeah, like this is, and I like the zombies. The zombie choice was pretty appropriate for like the fact that they had to like run and get stuff. But yeah, like this is a very well-rounded, like funny horror movie. Like for me, this hits the better balance for me personally of comedy and horror versus like Little Evil. Like Little Evil, I felt like they leaned a little bit more in the comedy.
They definitely did in that movie. This one had a bit more darkness in it.
Yeah, but like,
but it
while
was
still.
balance.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's all I got for entertainment.
So I felt about the same with this one as I did Little Evil, honestly, but I also enjoyed that movie more than you did. So I gave this one the same as 7.25.
Well,
strong, isn't it?
it's still strong, but at least doesn't have the bitterness.
That's good.
Yeah.
But it, like, does it punch you in the face with cinnamon and cloves? A little bit.
The clove is like, hello.
Cloves are strong.
Like, I'm here.
For sure. But I really enjoyed this movie, and you, again, on multiple watches, it's easier to see different things that you missed before. So, I had seen this movie a few times. I know this was your first watch on it. But it's really fun and more enjoyable when you watch it again. This was, I think, my 4th or 5th watch through on this. Because it's fun and it's funny. Mm-hmm. Teddy McGiggles does get on my nerves a little bit, so it's very cathartic watching what happens to him in the end. Like, he is not a good person.
Yeah.
In the movie. The actor does a really good job of making you not like him.
Yeah.
So, it's very nice, and it's very satisfying to watch what happens to him in the end when he chooses to be a massive jerk, even in the end, and it comes back to bite him.
I do have to say, I loved the hand puppet zombie, yes. And then whenever he gets shot, and it's ridiculous. Like, that had me, like, cackling.
Yes. Absolutely. Oh my god, yes. That hand puppet zombie.
He just like pops up, he's like, "Arr," and then he gets shot, he's like, "Arr," and then you just see like the little blood come out of his head, and just like, what the heck?
It's great. I love it.
And then like when they're coming towards the army, and then they're singing the songs, and the zombies are clapping and
It's wonderful. I love the different excuses the teacher gives trying to make somewhat plausible explanations that a kid would accept. So, like, when she comes back and she's covered in blood and viscera, she's like, I got caught in a jam fight. This is strawberry jam. Don't eat it.
Yeah, don't eat it.
So it was just funny things like that. Like, she really went above and beyond, honestly. So they were wonderful there. I felt like the uncle, there was a lot to unpack there. He had a lot of trauma. And he grew up very quickly, which I appreciate. There was a lot of growth in a very short amount of time, which normally wouldn't feel very plausible, but it was an extreme situation. And obviously he still has some work to do. Mm-hmm. He's still got some growing to do, but you can definitely see him taking a more strides to do better. And to do right by those kids especially. So, he was very, very self-absorbed and very childlike, honestly, in the beginning. But by the end, he's a much better character, and it's good to see that.
Yeah, and I like the way that they grow his character. It doesn't feel suddenly. Like, you still, even though it's for a quick amount of time, you still feel that progression.
Yes. And I love that bit when he gets to talk to his sister. After he's realized a lot of the things and had some of the growth, he's able to talk to his sister and say, I never said it before, I should have, thank you so much. And it's kind of heartbreaking when he loses the phone, and then the sister, she has no idea what's going on, so that worries her even more, of course. But he was at least able to get some of that unpacked and off his chest.
Yeah.
And because they all make it through, he's able to continue that progression. So it's really good and heartwarming and wholesome to see.
Yeah.
That being said.
Aww. Oh.
We'll get to some things in the realism that just... it takes you out of it a little bit. You have to suspend some of the reality, of course, but...
honestly, like, the comedy on this one made it very hard to focus on the realism, because
it really does. Like, if this situation were real, the teacher went way above and beyond the Call of Duty, give that woman all the praise and every raise ever.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, it's a little crazy there. But it's a very funny and entertaining movie. There is obviously some darkness to it with zombies eating people, and they do show a lot of that.
Yeah, it's pretty gory.
So there's some blood, there's some viscera, and it's not all pretty.
The only thing I didn't, like, the gore in general didn't bother me. The thing I was bothered by was all of the vomiting.
Yeah, I don't know why they feel the need to show it. I really don't. Like, if you make the sounds and have them off frame just a little bit, that's fine. But you really don't need to make your audience see that.
It was like,
You really don't.
There's sympathy vomiters, and yeah, no, yeah, it's not fun.
I thankfully am not one, but it's still not fun to see. It's gross.
Yeah, it's like, I wouldn't say I'm a sympathy vomiter, but it does, like, the hacking noise makes me feel queasy. And then seeing it, it's just, bleh.
Honestly, it kind of takes me out of the setting a little bit because I'm just kind of like
You're just, like,
put
gross.
off by it.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, you really had to make us watch that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could have heard it and you know what it is.
Or it's like, just show them, like, bending over. You don't have to show the fact that they're
you really
actually
don't
throwing
need to
up,
show
like,
anything.
Yeah.
It would save you a little bit on effects, too. Because you know it took more than one take. But, okay, that was a choice. So, but that's what I got for the entertainment. I loved the instant karma and the comedy. It was good.
Yeah, it gives you, like, all of the
Badass
characters.
teacher.
Well, I guess there's only one character that you're like, I'm okay if he doesn't live. Like, it's very satisfying. Like, who lives
Teddy
and who
McGickle?
dies. Yeah.
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 Him in particular, you're like, yeah, I'm definitely good if he doesn't make it.
But I'm glad that even though he was obviously a disliked character, it's not like I was just like, come on, kill him all. I just like...
Oh,
he
I
was
was
still-
ready for them to shove him
Well,
out the door.
Well, it's more like I still enjoyed watching him on screen. He
Yeah.
wasn't like one of those typical douchebags that they have in horror movies where you're like, every single time they're on the screen it's absolutely painful.
Uh-huh.
It's like, no, it's like he's enjoyable to watch, like he's entertaining, but as a character himself and morals and stuff, you're just like, I'm okay if you don't live. But it's like,
I like that they tried to offer him redemption. And when he doesn't take it, that's when there's instant karma. And that makes it all the more satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
for sure. But realism. This one's kind of tough.
it's hard, yeah. I feel like the kids did a decent job for the most part.
The kid acting in
helped.
this one is good.
Yes. Especially the main kid with the allergy attack.
Mm-hmm.
When he went anaphylactic.
Yeah. Yeah. So for realism, let's see, we gave what, a 2.5? We gave Poltergeist. Was
Yes.
that Poltergeist? I think I would give this one a 3. Just because it's like,
I keep going back and forth between two different ratings, to be honest.
yeah, because like on the one hand, I'm like, in that actual situation, I can totally see the teacher trying to distract the kids, but it's to that nth degree that you're like, that's a bit exaggerated. And then like, how hard to, you know what? No. Okay, I'm going to, honestly, especially with like the Teddy McGiggles character, And then, like, the zombie that's like, I'm gonna continue to do the puppet. I think I actually might, like, bring it down to a 2. I don't know. Or 2.5.
I keep going between a 2.5 and a 3. I think I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet myself in the middle and do a 2.5. But I will say the anaphylaxis. Yeah, I did look up the anaphylaxis stuff because I'm not super familiar with it, and it was kind of stressful watching that scene because I'm like, come on, you need to freaking help him. And while I do feel like they probably dragged that scene on a little bit too long, I did look it up, and the worst of the symptoms develop within 5 to 30 minutes. So, you know, depending on how bad his reaction was, if it took longer towards, like, the 30-minute mark, then yeah, they would have had plenty of time to give him, like, the EpiPen, and he would have been okay. But if they're within the 5-minute mark, which based off of his reaction, it seemed like they're getting pretty close.
Really close, yeah.
I don't know if it would have helped.
It probably would have helped, but he still would have needed medical attention shortly after.
Yeah, which, like, I understand why they couldn't give him medical attention, because they're kind of, like,
they're
trapped.
kind of stuck there.
But yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like, well, as soon as we're back in civilization, we need to bring him to a hospital, because an EpiPen isn't like a fix-all. Like, there's still after effects and everything. People that get the EpiPen still need to seek medical attention, from what I understand. Yeah, the EpiPen is essentially enough to keep you alive until you can get to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then they can, like, make sure that you're...
Definitely helps. And sometimes that's all that's really needed for the less severe, from what I understand, but it's always best to go ahead and seek medical attention for sure if you used an EpiPen.
Yeah, and I did find it refreshing isn't the best word for it, but like how the mom was like, oh, he's allergic to dairy, he's allergic to gluten, and the uncle is
nuts,
like
dairy, gluten.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, that's not a real thing, but I like how, because it's like, you know, there's fads and stuff like that, like the gluten-free stuff, but the reason why those became a fad is because it started with an element of truth. Like, there's actual people with, like, I think it's called celiac.
Yes, celiac disease. That actually legitimately have problems with gluten.
Yeah, and I mean, it can range. Like, I have heard that anaphylaxis is something that's possible, but there's also, like, gut issues that can happen where it's, like, almost like, kind of like lactose intolerance.
There's always a range with those, and it's the same with dairy. And even some people with nut allergies, some of them aren't as severe, and others, if they touch anything, anything with it, then it is a huge problem. Yeah. Huge and immediate problem.
Yeah, so I'm glad that, like, whenever you first hear the mom, you're like, oh god, she's one of these, but then it ended up being, like, a legit thing.
Well, I feel like when she brought out an EpiPen, you're like, oh, yeah, you know what, that's apparently a legit thing, because she wouldn't have been able to get the EpiPen if there wasn't a need for it.
Yeah. You kind of have to have proof for it.
A little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, going back onto, like, less realistic, definitely how gung-ho the teacher was on pretending that everything's okay, but more like the demeanor of it. Like, she's able to stay very calm in such a stressful situation, and I'm like, I can picture someone trying to keep the kids calm, but still being, like, shaky, and, like, you can tell that they're visibly stressed. But I mean, even in this scenario, the kids were picking up on the fact that something was wrong, which I thought was realistic.
Yes.
But
kids are more perceptive than most people give them credit for.
Yeah, but just the fact that it's like she's singing songs with, like, zombies chasing them, and she's like, "This is fine."
It takes a special kind of person, honestly, and there might be one every, couple thousand that can do that, but props to her, man.
Yeah. But, and then the other unrealistic thing was... Yes?
It's like liquid Red Hots.
Yeah.
Like, it's even somewhat sweet.
Yeah, it has a sweetness to it, which I'm not sure...
I'm not mad at it. It's good.
I'm not sure where the sweetness would have come from.
You know what? Maybe the artificial flavors that they throw in there?
Maybe.
I'm sure the orange peel offsets it a little bit, too.
Maybe. See, I mostly taste the clove and the cinnamon. Like the clove first and cinnamon second.
I don't really taste so much the citrus, but I think they use it to help cut it.
Mm-hmm.
And help make it a bit more mild.
Yeah. But
it's good.
It's strong. It's
strong.
Yeah.
It is most definitely strong. But it is tasty.
I'm glad you like it. But whenever David, the uncle, has the kid... What's the kid's name? You remember? If not, it's okay. But whenever he has a kid...
I remember him as Vader.
Remember
he does such a good job.
where he has him dressed up as Vader to, like, ask his girlfriend to marry him, and then...
That scene is so painful.
Finds out that that his girlfriend's having sex with someone. I'm sorry, I would have, like, immediately taken the child out of the room.
Well, that just shows his immaturity and self-absorbedness. Like,
That's fair, since he was just, like, too busy talking to her.
Yes! And he was all wrapped up in how it was affecting him. He didn't think about, one, it was super inappropriate to even get the kid up in the middle of the night after he had already been put down to go to bed for the next day. He gets him up, takes him out of the house, all without telling the mother, and goes to his girlfriend's house, then shows him all that.
Well, and plus, like, his girlfriend and him were already having a very rough time.
Yes.
Like, I think they're in the process of breaking up or something, and he was trying to do, like, one last, like, give me a chance.
It was his last-ditch effort to salvage the relationship.
Your last-ditch effort should not be to ask her to marry you.
No.
Like, no, that's just, no.
No.
And
That's not how you fix things.
Yeah, but, I mean, of course that talks, again, to his immaturity. He doesn't understand that there's certain things you have to build up with the relationship, but he's grabbing onto straws.
Yeah, he felt like that was the reason why they were arguing all the time, was that she wanted kids and marriage and the whole 9 yards, and he wasn't there yet, so he was trying to give her that, and he thought that was just going to magically fix things. And that's not how it works.
Yeah.
And this is not how it works.
Yeah, so it's like, it seems like that, I'm like, oh, that's pretty realistic.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's frustrating because there's, And then, like, the army trying to, being like, you know, no survivors type of thing. I can understand the army.
They don't want it to spread.
Yeah, but it's like, I have two different feelings. On the one hand, I'm like, if it's a situation where there's so many people that you literally can't contain them to make sure that they're not infected, then I can understand the justification to kill them all, unfortunately. But in this scenario, where there was, like, so little people that there was 2 adults and the rest were kids, and they just had to put them in quarantine. I'm glad that they ended up putting them in quarantine, because if they had shot them all, I would have been pissed.
Well, they almost did, and then the guy was
like, I'm not gonna kill kids again.
I can't kill kids again.
Yeah.
Which means he has at some point.
Yeah, which I want to know that backstory.
I don't. I don't want to know.
Like, what?
I don't want to know.
But yeah, this movie is kind of hard to figure out the realism, but yeah, it's like comedy based in reality, but then also some, like, random off the wall stuff. But that's all I got.
I feel like David could definitely have benefited from some therapy. 100%. There was a lot to unpack there.
Oh yeah, like especially
so
with the sister relationship and how she had to take care of him growing up.
The dad abandoning them and him thinking it was his fault.
Yeah.
And being angry and lashing out at everyone.
Which also explains why he was trying to cling to his girlfriend so hard because of abandonment issues.
Yep. Despite there being obvious red flags of it not working. They were arguing about everything. Like, they made it a point in the beginning of the movie to show that that's basically all they did was argue. So, yeah, but him having all that emotional trauma and all and not dealing with it was pretty bad, and he was so... That's nice, thanks guys. But he was a horrible influence. Horrible influence in the beginning. And it was nice to see that growth and development. And while he does have a very long way to go still, at the end of the film, still got a lot of work to do. And I still hope that he goes to therapy after that.
Yeah.
Still needs it. Nothing's magically fixed.
Nope.
Nothing's
Especially
magically
after
fixed.
like zombie trauma to add
No,
top.
please go to therapy. But hopefully he's not as stuck in the past after that and is able to start moving forward. I thought it was fairly accurate, the guy lying to try to make himself look good for the pretty teacher. It was a bit cliche, but also fairly accurate. I don't know why he thought it was appropriate to sing that kind of song on the bus with kids. And that was one of his more mild ones, he said.
Yeah, I love how the teacher was like, too much.
You know, yeah, I think we're done.
Yeah.
I think that's enough for now.
And then I don't know why he would decide to sing one of his songs. Like, just...
Pick literally any other song.
Yeah. It's like the kids just want to have a song. It doesn't have to be one of yours.
It doesn't have to be one of yours. But he was trying to impress her, I think, with, his band song. So, yeah.
Which, it definitely was one of those songs where it can't just be, like, a voice and a guitar. Like, you need a whole band to make it sound like music.
A little bit. It definitely needed something else, for sure.
Remixing or something.
But again, with his words alone, like the lyrics alone, she was sitting there like, oh dear God, what have I done?
Yeah. But
there's a lot to unpack here, and we're going to stop right here. I think that's enough. Thank you so much for showing the kids that. Please never do that again. Mm-hmm. And we're just going to sit here now. Why was there a military base right next to the petting zoo and putt-putt area? I feel like they wouldn't have been in that close proximity. And also, the military base seriously left the gate open when they breached initial containment.
That's true.
I'm calling some bull.
Well, I know, as far as, like, petting zoo so close, I know, like, military towns, like, the town grows up around the base, so they tend to be in fairly close proximity.
Yeah, I feel like that was still a little too close.
Well, I guess with it being, like, specifically, like, a research center, like, it's one thing if it's, like, a training base.
Yeah,
that's true. Training base is, like, it doesn't matter how close you are, but it's, like...
But if it's a research type center that has potentially deadly viruses?
Yeah.
Seriously?
I think that's just how they explained it being an isolated area.
Uh-huh. Yeah, still calling Boulder.
Ooh. Sorry.
It wasn't me this time!
Yay!
Alright, also, small thing, and I only noticed this because they made it a point to show his butt with his pants sagging a lot, but his underwear changed a couple of times. David's.
I'm
just saying.
Did not notice.
I'm just saying. It was middle of the screen, and they were just showing his ass.
I was looking at his eyes.
His eyes weren't in screen. It was when he was bent over, okay? Just saying.
That's funny. Could you imagine being like one of
like Grade of Blue?
The people on the set that like try and keep things consistent, and they're like, we need you to wear the same underwear.
Just saying. And again, it wouldn't have been as noticeable if they didn't make it a point to show his pants by his knees half the movie. I'm against sagging, I'm sorry. It's a pet peeve of mine anyway. And then for them to show it, and I'm watching it in our living room where we have this giant screen. Like, there's nowhere else to look.
Well, but I know, like, the sagging isn't just a trend. It's like, some guys just have issues with their pants sagging. And
it's called a belt.
But belt doesn't always, like, for me, I can't always wear a belt because it digs into me. And my pants are still, like, trying to sag. Like, it depends.
That sounds like a style or cut issue then. Like the cut of the pants.
Anyways.
Anyway, moving on. The a-hole leaving others, including kids, to die. Fairly accurate. I can see that happening. I love that David gets in there and they fight so he can unlock the thing to let them in. But yeah, unfortunately I can see that happening.
I thought it was kind of fun how he stapled the side of his face, and you saw the staple for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, he picked one of them out, but another one stayed there.
Which, I don't understand why he wouldn't pull both of them out, because I'd imagine that staying in there would be very painful.
Yeah. I mean, it would suck taking it out.
Oh, yeah, but once it's out, it's just like...
Yeah, just get it out.
I hope he had a tetanus shot. That's all I can say.
Well, he wouldn't need one.
Yeah, because he's a zombie.
Yeah, he ended up not needing it, so, you know. And then the teacher turned into a cold savage. That was freaking awesome. Freaking love that scene. That's my favorite scene in the entire movie. Was when you could tell the switch too, where she's like, okay, you know what, I have had enough. Walks over there, breaks the thing, puts it to his side. Okay, listen here. He was not expecting that either, and that made it all the better. So, wonderful there. Then the instant karma, which was fabulous. I feel like the military would have also been a little different. Acted a little bit differently.
How so?
It seemed a little almost too comical.
Hmm.
Like, they set up the perimeter and everything, but they didn't send in anyone to do much reconnaissance or anything. They did a couple of flybys, but they didn't send teams or units in to try to clear out the zombies first and determine any survivors, if any.
Yeah. Like, I feel like horror movies, when there's military, seem to give the same impression as they do the cops, where they make them seem like super incompetent and stupid. Yeah. And
they clearly had enough firepower. And I did laugh though when they breached containment and they were setting up the perimeter and they were like, "It's zombies, sir." And he's like, "Oh god, fast ones or slow ones?"
Yeah.
Slow ones. I'm just sitting here like, you have both? This is a problem. Why are they even a thing? Why are both an option?
Why are both an option? Yeah, could you imagine slow and fast zombies? So every time you saw a zombie, you wouldn't know which one you're coming in contact
That's
with?
That's a problem.
Yeah.
But why are any of them an option, for one? But when both are apparently a valid option in a question, there's a problem.
I did like that even though the zombies were slow, I liked the fact that they'd have, like, quick, like, jerk moments.
Yes.
So it's like they still felt dangerous
Yes.
despite them being slow.
Yes, they didn't run, but they were still a danger. They were still a threat.
Yeah.
So, I did also find it a little funny and fairly accurate, I guess. When the, I think they were Japanese. It was hard to tell. The tourist family was taking pictures. Yes,
family.
yes. They were taking pictures. And when the zombie came up, they're like, oh, hey, it's an event or something. They didn't think anything of it, because who would think anything of it initially?
Yeah.
And they go to take a picture, and that's when it starts, and then they drop the camera and run.
Yeah.
I thought that was fairly accurate, honestly.
Yeah, like, you would never guess it's a zombie.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's someone in a costume.
It's, they're having some kind of event or special thing going on, and it's just fun.
I did love when the first zombie popped up and the teacher put, like, the scarecrow hat.
Yes.
The scarecrow, look. That's great.
And I love how traumatized she was, too, when the pitchfork actually went through him. She's like,
oh my god.
Oh my god, what just happened? And he's still moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's what I had for Realism. It's not a very realistic movie. It's a zombie movie. Most of them aren't very realistic. But this one was at least very entertaining and fun to watch.
Yeah. Definitely. If you haven't given this one a watch and you like comedy horror, I feel like this one's worth a watch for sure.
Absolutely.
I feel like this is a good one to watch with friends too.
Yes.
But thank you so much for joining us today, and please comment on what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, and keep up to date with our content, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and our Discord, and most places you listen to podcasts.
And if you'd like to support the podcast, please subscribe, like, and share our content. If you'd like to support us monetarily, we do have our PayPal donate a button and our Teespring available with our lovely merch mugs. And
I'm waiting for the day we drop one of these.
please don't.
We're both klutzes, one day we're gonna do it.
I know, but don't even put that out there. We also have different shirts and wall art and things available in spoons. So, things with spoons available on our Teespring. All of the sites mentioned will be linked down below. And until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy. Bye!